the sun in the palm of my hand.
Greetings, and welcome back to the MCOC Encyclopedia. The Sentry buff is here! Let's see what this man can do. So, here we are in Realm of Legends, and we have a 7-star, rank 3, unawakened, no synergies, no recoil showcase of the Sentry. I've sped up just this first fight. We have class disadvantage, and Sentry is an in-fight and through the quest ramp-up champion. We'll be explaining exactly how it works, but his first fight is always going to be a little bit disappointing, and given we have class disadvantage, that is kind of coming through. However, we are still, when they both crit, getting 50k heavy attacks before we've even really started. This is pretty good, and something we will take to the absolute extreme as we continue. Sentry has 3 phases to him. His initial phase, which doesn't really do much, his sort of normal attacks phase, and then his heavy attacks phase. And we'll explore how you move between them in the next fight. So that fight was 1 minute 38, 91 hits, which for a 7-star rank 3 is fine. I would expect a bit better, but Sentry is a ramp-up champion, so let's see how far we can push that ramp-up. In any phase, no matter what Sentry is doing, anytime you apply a debuff to the opponent, you gain a bulwark buff, and you can see we're up to 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 of those right now. Whenever you use a special attack, you will convert all of your bulwark buffs into bulwark passives, and whenever you convert 20 total, so it doesn't have to be in one go, 20 total, you will move into the next phase. So you can see we did convert 20 in one go, so now we are in phase 2, which is our yellow phase, and all of our attacks are doing extra burst damage. We've now converted 20 again, and now we're in our heavy phase. And even though we've only got, this is 2 reality warp, we're already doing some very nice numbers on our improved heavies. So that one, there we go, that was a 62k just on that second hit. And every time you move out of your heavy phase and back into your sort of not doing much phase, you gain 1 reality warp, which is the blue icon you can see in the top left, but also our persistent charge. I was just doing some dexing there because whenever you dex or gain a crit chance buff of any sort, you can also gain another bulwark buff, so that's another way for us to do that. I went back to my original phase, and even with some extra dancing about, that was still 1 minute 17, so it's coming down very fast. In our first phase, any hit we do applies a relatively small, but they do stack up to 10, exhaustion debuff, and this is what lets us get our bulwark buffs. However, on the special one, we can also apply a brand new halt debuff. No one else has this at the moment. It is a very, very powerful debuff and the best way in the game to deal with unstoppable. Very simply, if they are unstoppable, you can hit them as if they weren't. It is that simple. That was a 27k medium, by the way, so we are going up and up and up in terms of our damage. Halt is better than slow, because slow relies on ability accuracy. It is better than nullify, because people are immune to it. It is better than stagger. It is better than fate seal, because people, like Sentry, are immune to those things. He's immune to nullify and fate seal, but oddly not stagger. He's also incinerate immune as well, which is quite nice. So Halt, the best way in the game to deal with unstoppable. 2 crits on that heavy attack for a total of 80k, and we're only at 3 reality warp at the time. That's pretty good. So I'm going to skip to the end of his ramp up. We now have 10. I haven't healed up at all in this quest, and you can see we've only taken 5% damage. He is incredibly sustainable, not only with all of his debuffs that apply if you're running the Inequity Mastery, I think, reduce the opponent attack, and his bulwarks, meaning your block proficiency is excellent a lot of the time. When in his second phase, you apply withers to the opponent on every hit, so you can see us doing that now. They stack up to 10 and are 10% each, and you can see at this point, when we crit, we are hitting, that was a 30k medium crit, that's very, very powerful, and we have the, crit down debuff as well, so that's really hurting us, our damage output as well. And at this point, we can just spam our heavy attacks. That was a 100k heavy there, there was another 100k heavy, and even though the Scarlet Witch is being a bit passive with us, she's down. And that took 41 seconds. Now, I'm sure you're asking, does he have the damage for Realm of Legends Winter Soldier? And we are not running a single point in despair, so we are not reducing his healing at all. And the answer to that is an absolute yes. In our second phase, you can see we're getting red burst damage on all of our hits. And that really helps. It scales off the damage you deal, so whenever you crit, you deal a whole lot of damage. And now in this phase, every heavy attack is applying energy vulnerabilities, which means our damage is just going to go up and up and up. Once you have 3 reality warp, your heavies will refresh your debuffs. That was a 120k heavy attack, I think. And here comes a special 2. Another heavy attack, please. There we go. When those crit, they absolutely slap. That was 60k, so that would have been, I don't know, another 50k, so that was well over 100k on that one hit. Now I hear you saying, that was a lot of regen. And that was Realm of Legends Winter Soldier. So let's go have a look at the Labyrinth equivalent. This is Labyrinth of Legends X23, who has some of the most disgusting regen in the entire game, as well as having 1.5 million health to deal with. So whenever you have 3 reality warp, you can refresh all of your debuffs, but whenever you have 6, after your first medium attack, you can go straight into a heavy. It will passively stun them like Doom or Chavez. This only works off your first medium attack, and as long as they don't evade you, allows you to very safely refresh your debuffs, and if you're in your heavy phase, you can apply, there we go, so passively stun them like that, you can apply your you get your reality warps already, you can apply your energy vulnerabilities, and you can see we are dropping 160k heavies back to back when things crit, and when things don't crit, they're still about 60k. We're not running any synergies in this fight, though we do have a White Magneto pre-fight on, just because it's Labyrinth and passive stuns, and so on. Now, when you hit 8 reality warp, that lets you start straight away in your sort of ideal extra damage on basic attacks form, the yellow one, form 2. This is a little bit annoying in longer fights, and is something I've spoken to the designer about, and exactly what they were thinking. But it does make sense for anyone that has less than about 1 million health, which is most things in the game. If you're in a slightly longer fight, you just go back to your first phase, gain your exhaustions, and off you go again. Once you get used to him, Sentry is a very simple champion to play, and you gain some serious damage output. We're now in our hit them for extra damage phase, and that was an 80k medium and another one. Sentry's damage is so reliable that you just hit them. Don't let the health bar fool you. It's not going down, super fast, but just focus on the numbers that are coming out. Wolverine X23 here, he's regenerating for 12k per tick some point. Here we go. She's now regenerating, after that heavy attack, 7.5k per tick. Now 21k per tick regeneration. But we're doing 80k mediums and 40, 50k light crits. His damage once he's ramped up is just insane. And there are 3 reasons you get that damage. Firstly, reality warps give him extra attack. The more you've ramped up, the better. 2, you gain extra burst damage in the phases. That's what's giving us our red damage. And if we're in the red phase, that comes from our heavy attacks instead of our basic, medium, and lights. And 3, and perhaps most importantly, every debuff on the opponent gives you increased attack rating as well. And these don't have to be personal debuffs. So if you're fighting someone, I don't know why you'd want to, but like Kingpin, or Mr. Sinister if he's triggering bleeds on himself, you gain extra damage for no matter where they come from. And you can stack up to 30 of these without external sources. This X23 is nearly down, 1.5 million health, a crazy amount of regen. We've probably torn through about 3 million health at this point, maybe more. And she is just, it's going to take 1 special 2 from her. She's got 5% health, which is still, 200,000 or something. We've refreshed all our debuffs, and there we go. Absolutely no issues going through all of that health. 3 minutes. I did continue the path, actually. I did an entire labyrinth path, just because he's fun. His block proficiency is so good. We were taking sort of 200-300 damage from a special 2 from this X Venom with 3 Furies. He does so much damage, and you can see just evades that, but doesn't matter. Damage cap special 2. We were also getting damage capped heavies. Now, this is the clip that we started the video off. This is Abyss of Legends Quake, 5.8 million health, and we are just dropping huge heavies back to back to back. They are 80k heavies when they don't crit. But we can just do them back to back to back. That was 110k just on the second hit, because it did, so it would be about 150k. Yeah, 4 minutes 40 seconds. 4 minutes 4 seconds, sorry. Now, for anyone who saw the YouTube post, this was the fight that I used to get that. This is 8.1.4 Dormammu, and we are running everything in this fight. We have max boosts, recoils, you name it, just because I wanted to see what we could push him to. And this fight, admittedly, does have a heavy boost. So your damage of your heavy attacks is increased in this fight. But let's see what we get out of that Dormammu for those who didn't see. Now, I'm just getting a little bit sort of trying to get something out of this Dormammu, but remember, yeah, that was a cool 250,000 heavy. We didn't have all of our debuffs. We didn't have any Furies that you get from the special 2. And we didn't have any of our energy vulnerabilities. So that could have been significantly higher. Now, I'm sure there are some smart people out there that thought, What about some nodes? You know, there's the redoubled determination node. For every debuff you have on the opponent, they gain more power, deal more damage. Well, one of the coolest thing about Sentry's kit is whilst he has one of his personal bulwark buffs, the opponent, if they're Mystic, their combat power rate is locked at whatever it was at the start of the fight. So it doesn't matter how many debuffs we put on this Dragon Man, his combat power rate is 100% and cannot be increased. Sentry is also Incinerate immune, so if we did get hit by that, it wouldn't really matter, and he is just scything through this Dragon Man without ramp up. Admittedly, 7.3.4, he's a rank 3, of course he should scythe through it. But, you know, no ramp up Sentry, absolutely shredding through those fights. So, there we have a quick dive into the latest Sentry buff. I do really like him. I don't know if I will be ranking him personally, because I don't have a use for him. However, if you get him somehow as one of your early 7 stars, he will carry you through a lot of things, and he is perhaps one of the best incursion champions in the game as well. I haven't showcased his regeneration in this video as well, which is absurd, because you can gain regenerations off your special 3 and then convert them to passives by throwing your special 1, so he is incredibly sustainable as well in that regard. A really, really good champion buff, and I'm very happy to see that Sentry is really up there where he should be. If you have any questions, please do leave them down in the comments below, and if we get enough, I am more than open to doing another Sentry video. We could perhaps take a look at his awakened ability that really doesn't add much, but this is on the content creator beta, not on my live account, so we can just awaken him nice and easily. I'm also considering doing videos on the freshly buffed Sentinel and Deadpool X-Force as well, so do let me know if there's anything in particular you'd like to see from them. Please consider also joining the Discord server linked in the description. A great place to get specific advice, make suggestions for future video topics, and while I'm awake, I do my best to be there as much as possible. Thank you, and I will see you next time.